most big cities are just super developed and make most cities in Europe look like super far behind. Welcome to China's Florida. I'm here in Haikou, capital city of Hainan Island, China's largest island located in the south of the country. And as you can see behind me, it is really tropical, and that is why it's often called China's Florida, because the climate is similar, and also it serves as a major tourist spot here in the country. A lot of Chinese travel here to enjoy the beaches, the tropical climate, and to escape the winter when it's cold in Beijing and Shanghai. I'm here in the People's Park. It's super pretty. Like everywhere in China, it is just spotless, super clean, very well maintained. It is very hot, it is very humid, and now we're gonna explore the city of Haikou. Around 3 million people live here in Haikou. That's not a whole lot of people for Chinese cities. It's rather a small city. And right now, there's literally no one else around here in the park. Look at this, it's completely empty. That might be due to the hot temperatures right now. It's the middle of the day, it's around 1 p.m. and we have like around 30 degrees Celsius. So it's pretty warm, pretty humid, but it is also so peaceful. You can hear all the insects in the background, the birds chirping, and this park is absolutely beautiful, very tropical. Over here behind me, we have some people exercising. Chinese people are very active, and whenever you come to a park here in China, you usually always see people exercising, stretching, or you have like some older ladies, some aunties doing their dances with music, which is always so adorable. I really enjoy visiting parks here in the country. There's always something to see. What's that down here? There's some sort of monument down here. Let's go have a look. This city has so many palm trees, by the way. It's beautiful. Let's see what this monument is about. Revolutionary Memorial Facilities. That's what it says out here. No playing, no frolicking. It's forbidden. And we don't want to lose any social credit points. I'm just joking. So that's it. To understand a little more about the monument here behind me, I translated this with Google Translate, and I'm gonna tell you what it says according to Google Translate. So here it says, comrades who have long persisted in the revolutionary struggle on Qingdao Island and bravely sacrificed their lives in the battle across the sea, you are the most outstanding sons and daughters of the Chinese nation. Your heroic deeds have played an indelible role in the liberation of Qingdao Island and the whole of China. I'm not sure why it says Qingdao Island, because this island is called Hainan Island. It might be a translation error, I'm not exactly sure. But from my understanding, this memorial here behind me is built in honor of the comrades, of the communist comrades that fought against the nationalists in 1950 here in Haikou city, because Haikou was one of the last strongholds of the nationalists that fell to the communists in 1950. So this is one of the last places that became communist back then. And now let's have a look over here. That is beautiful with all the palm trees. We have some lakes over there. No one around. It's absolutely empty. I mean, I can't blame people. It's just super hot right now. So let's have a look over there. There's a bridge. Look at this. This is a beautiful park. There's someone fishing right over here. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And now we're gonna have a look to this bridge right over here. I think it leads to the old town, the old part of Haikou City, and I'd say we're gonna check that out. It's definitely getting a little bit more busy over here, and over here you can buy your e-scooter, because as you can see, everyone here is driving around on their e-scooters, and you don't hear these scooters at all. Like, sometimes you really have to make sure to not get run over, especially since most of the people ride their scooters on the sidewalks, if there are any sidewalks. So right here there are no sidewalks, that's why they have to take the road. But usually as a pedestrian you will always have to share the sidewalk with the e-scooters, which can be a bit dangerous. So I'm not exactly sure, but I think we're getting closer to the old part of the town. This might actually already be it. It looks much older than any city I've been to in China on this trip. There's lots of restaurants and little shops over here. You can buy all your vegetables. Some restaurants are here if you're hungry. That is really cute, very interesting. You don't see this kind of small local streets very often anymore in China. Most big cities are just way too developed nowadays. Here you can buy kind of roots, dried stuff. This looks so local. Here's some ground up powder. Not exactly sure what that is. More roots. This here all seem to be like small little family businesses, which is like really cute. All of this down here is a pedestrian street, and you can see the houses here are super beautiful. They kind of remind me of colonial architecture, and these buildings were actually built by Chinese people that returned from overseas. So they probably went to Europe, traveled to Europe, saw this architecture there and brought it back here to Haikou City, because Haikou was never directly colonialized. The city was used for trading. There's a big port here, but it was never directly colonialized. So this architecture was brought back by Chinese from overseas. Look at this. At the side of the road you find all these shops where you can buy all these beautiful pictures of what you would call great men here in China, like Mao. That looks really pretty with all these lanterns. There are all these shops in here. Oh, a lantern shop. So here you can buy lanterns for your home. All kinds of dried things. You can buy here teas. These shops are very cute, very local. Drinking bottles. Fish for your aquarium. So whatever you need. And this seems super local. This whole road is so local. Look at this. All the little family-owned businesses here. You don't see stuff like this very often here in China nowadays. This city is so different to any of the other cities I've been to before on this trip. It's so much smaller and yeah, so much less developed, I'd say. Whatever household utensils you need, teapots, brooms, you can for sure find it here in this street. I also think once the sun has set and the temperatures cool down a little, this might get way more lively, because it is a touristy city. There are a lot of tourists coming here, though I think nobody comes here in the heat of the day. Here we have some local street foods. leaves with some rice and usually some meat fillings. So not for me. What is that over here? That looks like a market, like another market. Of course, everyone's riding their electric scooters through here. Beef jerky. Beef jerky is really popular here in China. You can find that everywhere. Some of them are really spicy, from what I know. Wow. This looks like intestines. I'm not exactly sure, but if I would have to guess what this here behind me is, it does look like dried up, preserved intestines. I might be wrong, but that's my best guess. Here too. So here we have like shrimps, and this might be a pufferfish. My guess is it's a pufferfish, but no guarantees. This whole road also smells very fishy. And over here you can see all these dried up shrimp and seafood. So I do think this is all, ni hao. I think this is all dried fish stuff. Here we have the huge dried fish. Here. They're all dried. I'm not exactly sure how you would eat that stuff. How you cook it. Oh, wow. So in here you can also buy all different kinds of live turtles for consumption. I assume. That's actually pretty sad to see. Just dozens of them thrown into the plastic boxes. It's something that you see in a lot of countries in Asia, especially in Southeast Asia. Wherever you go, like in Thailand, I've seen a lot of that same shit at wet markets. Down here, these are snakes. These are some sort of like water snakes. Wow, look at them. I'm not gonna hold my finger in there, I don't want to get it bitten off. But this seems to be some sort of wet market, I think. I didn't expect this when coming into this road. But yeah, now here you can buy all sorts of live animals and meats, chicken feet, some sort of intestines. So now we're having a traffic jam here because of all the e-bikes. Let's go through here. So, unlike in the West, they actually eat all parts of the animal here in China. So they eat the head, the chicken feet, all the intestines. Stuff that we usually waste in the West is not wasted here in China. Here you can buy all kinds of different eggs. Wow, these eggs are like in clay, are like bathed in clay, rubbed in clay. There's clay or like some sort of, I don't want to say dirt, but some brown stuff that looks like dirt. Here, I have no idea. These are kind of some preserved eggs. Also like some different kind of clay. Very, very interesting. Here you can get frogs. They're like hundreds of frogs filled up in bags, and all kinds of seafood, crabs, shrimp. Wow, it does look very sanitary though, I have to say. It looks much cleaner and more sanitary than any wet markets I saw in Thailand. Here's some squid and mussels. And here in between we have a little shrine, a little temple just here in the middle of the wet market. And yeah, you have to be really careful to not get run over by the e-bikes. They're transporting all the stuff here through the small alleyways. I think we've seen enough of the wet market though. Let's try to head back to the pedestrian road with all the pretty buildings. I'm not sure how to get back. This is very confusing here. I think we've reached the end of the wet market. So now let's try to head back to the pedestrian road. It's a lot of scooters here, a lot of traffic. Let's try to not get run over. This city, Haikou, more dried fish over here. This city is so interesting. It's really so different to the places I've been to before. It seems super local, and to be honest, it seems just way less developed. It seems way more traditional. I think you know what I mean. I think you get the vibe. But I think a lot of foreigners that have never been to other places in China before, like, this is how they would probably imagine China to be like. The reality is very different nowadays. Most big cities are just super developed and make most cities in Europe look like super far behind, super undeveloped. Okay, we made it back to the pedestrian road, and look at all these beautiful decorations. I bet all these lanterns will be lit up at night and create a super cute atmosphere. There's also like some fish, all the red lanterns here in front of these colonial style buildings. That is really beautiful. Over here in this shop, ni hao, ni hao. Here you can buy your dragon costume for Chinese New Year. Yeah, beautiful. Bye bye. So you get everything for Chinese New Year back there. So most people do not speak English, and some people are actually really shy to speak English to you, even though they understand a little bit, but they're lovely. I've just left the pedestrian street and now we're back here. Even more e-bikes. The traffic light isn't working, so I think we're just gonna have to cross and make sure to not get run over. Done. Even more e-bikes. Look at this amount of e-bikes parked here at the side of the road. Also over here, it's beautiful, the architecture. From what I've read, they're actually trying their best to preserve all of these old colonial style buildings. You can see a lot of like French and Portuguese influences. You can also see some Southeast Asian influences here. And usually China tends to destroy a lot of their old buildings just to modernize the city, to develop them and to make more living space for the people. Here in Haikou though, they're trying to preserve this, and I understand why. It's just absolutely beautiful, and it's also quite unique architecture here in China. And now we're gonna have a look down here. This road seems to be only selling clothes. This whole area of the old town seems to be quite separated when it comes to the kind of things they're selling. Oh, look at this. Wow, I've never seen this before. What is that? A nut? Oh, let's see if I can buy one of them. I couldn't pay the lady, unfortunately, because as a foreigner I can only pay businesses with Alipay. So a lot of people set up their account as a private person, which as a foreigner I'm not allowed to pay to, unfortunately. That sucks. In the West we have Playboy, here we have Piano Boy. So if you want to get some new drip, this is the place to go. And now we're entering the fake Crocs alley. You can buy all the fake Crocs, even with like fake little pins. that you can put on there. There are just so many slippers, so many slides, because that's the #1 footwear here in China, slides. I actually adapted and I'm wearing the slides too. I bought these on my last trip to China last August and they're just so comfortable. Now let's have a look down here. Very small alleyway and even more scooters down here. And now look at these small alleyways. Let's see what's at the end of this alleyway. There seems to be some sort of plaza over here. Let's have a look. Oh yeah. Down here, this building, this is the old clock tower. One of the most iconic buildings. I'm not sure if this is the right wording, but let's have a look down there. Yep. Everyone's using the pedestrian road. I guess it's faster, you don't have to wait as long for the traffic light to turn green. But yeah, the pedestrian walkways here definitely double as e-bike streets. There's a river down here. That's beautiful. And that's the clock tower. So it was built in the 1920s from what I've read, and during the Cultural Revolution it was actually destroyed, but they've rebuilt it and it almost looks exactly like the original one. It's slightly different from what I've read, but I think it's still very nice.
关注我，看尽国外热门视频。